what's up you guys, the Curious Owl here, and today I am doing the Bookish Scenarios Tag. So this is a pretty simple tag. You have a bunch of different scenarios and you have to decide what you would do within them that is bookish related. This was made by Lindsay Hart's Books, and let's get started with the questions. So the first question is, you have to get rid of all your books and you can only keep one from each of these genres. A contemporary, a fantasy, a nonfiction, and one other genre of your choosing. What books do you keep? The contemporary for sure would be Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. That is my favorite contemporary of all time. The fantasy, I would keep the first book in the Beautiful Creatures series, Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll, as it's my favorite series of all time, and I want to at least keep that book. I think the nonfiction book I would pick would be Emma Blackery's Feel Good 101. It's like a collection of essays about stuff that has happened in her life that she wants to kind of put out to the world to show that other people are not alone in the things that they go through, and it was really, really awesome and really heartfelt, and I truly enjoyed it a lot. For the other genre of my choosing, I'm going to pick mystery, and I'm going to pick the first book in the Alex Cross series by James Patterson, because that is the #1 favorite mystery book of all time, mystery series of all time, as it is the series that really got me invested in mystery and really made me want to continue with looking into writing mystery and things of that nature. So all 4 of those books all have really big places in my heart when it comes to reading. So that's why I really wanted to keep those ones in particular, because they're the ones that mean the most to me. Question number 2 is, you're at the bookstore and you hear a teenager telling their mom they don't like to read, but their mom insists they pick something. You walk over and recommend a book you think is great for people who aren't big on reading. What book is it? Honestly, I have no idea for this question because I don't really remember what it was that got me into reading in particular, and I guess it would depend on what it is about books they don't like reading, like if it's about certain tropes or characters or like things that they are tired of seeing. Like, I don't really know. I guess I would have to know more about the person, and I also have to know more about kind of their reasons for why they don't want to read. Question 3 is, you're not feeling yourself and need to pick me up. Which book do you read to put yourself in a great mood? I don't think I really have a certain book that's really a pick me up. I typically have movies for that. I think I definitely rely on movies more so to make me feel better. But the first book that comes to my head that I think I would really enjoy reading again when I'm feeling upset would be the Beautiful Creatures first book, because just that first book has a lot of heart and a lot of like beautiful love within it that just makes me really happy to read about. Question 4 is, you go back in time for a day to your teenage years. What book would you most likely have caught yourself reading? The Beautiful Creatures series, because that was when I was about 16 years old. That was one of the first really big fantasy books that I had started reading. Question 5 is, your friend surprises you with a 4-day trip and you have 1 hour to pack. Which book do you bring to read on the way? Probably would be whatever book I'm reading, which currently I'm listening to the audiobook and transitioning to the physical copy of A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. So it would be that one, but it would really just depend on what exactly I'm reading at the time or what I'm going to be reading coming up, because I typically have a TBR for each month that I am in. Question 6 is, your house has been robbed. Don't worry, everyone is safe, but your bookshelf has been raided. What's the book you really hope is safe? I would say any of the books that I borrowed from my grandmother, so most like the Harry Potter books, I borrowed most of those from my grandmother, and my Beautiful Creatures collection. Those are priceless to me. And the last and final question, question 7, is, your friend borrows a book and returns it in awful condition. Oh God, that's every book person's nightmare when sending out books to friends. Do you A, just pretend you haven't noticed, B, ask them to repurchase it, or C, secretly do the same thing to something of theirs? Okay, that last one's not really good. That's a really poor way to handle the situation. I also, though, would not pretend like it didn't happen. Obviously, if it's severely damaged, I would definitely ask them to repurchase it, because obviously I gave it to them thinking they were going to take care of it, and if they obviously have not taken care of it, then they need to replace it, because especially if like something is really, really wrong with it, where like the dust jacket is completely ripped to the point where it's about to fall off, then obviously it needs to be replaced. However, in that same vein, if there's maybe like a small little tear in the dust jacket or on the book or on a page, I'm not gonna worry about it so much, because I do understand that a lot of times if you're transferring something from like a bag to another bag, like it can get ripped, especially if it's something like a paperback. So I guess it depends on the severity for me of the damage, but if it's severely damaged, definitely would ask the person to repurchase it, even if they're a really good friend. So there you guys go. Those are all of the questions for the Bookish Scenarios tag. Let me know what your answers would be for any of these questions down in the comments below, and you can check out the questions in the description. If you would like to do this tag yourself, please feel free to. This is a really interesting one. I mean, it's very simple, but it definitely gets you really thinking about, I think in particular, what are your most treasured books that you really have soft spots for in your heart. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit the button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys.